In today's video, we're going to be looking at the myth of perfect time in regards to fatherhood, work-life balance, family commitments. Does work-life balance really exist? Well, I'm here to tell you it doesn't. Why do I say this? Let me give you a few examples. Not a few, just an example. You're at work from 9 to 5. How many hours is that? That's roughly about 8 hours. Then plus your commuting time, say an hour there, an hour back. Let's average it about 10 hours away from your home. And I'm just giving you a general picture. Everyone's situation is going to be different in terms of their work. But what I'm trying to say is there's so much time spent away from the home, away from the family due to work commitments. And that's okay, because you have to bring it home, the bread. You have to do what you have to do. That's cool. That's fine. But the issue is, what do you do when you get home? How much hours, how much time do you have? Let's say you get home around about 6 o'clock. You've got about 6 hours with your family from 6 till 12. Let's say, okay? Some people might be less, because this will depend on also what time you go to sleep. So you could average between 4 to 6 hours you have with your family. It's about not you don't spend enough time with me. It's what you do in the time you have. I'll give you an example. You can have a few hours time slot with your family, but not be meaningful. You can have half an hour, 15 minutes, and be so emotionally connected with your child and your spouse. And this all depends on what you do with the time you have. This is the actual real balance. So when someone in your family says to you, you don't spend enough time, it's not about enough. It's quality time over quantity any day of the week. It's what you do within the time you have. How productive are you? Are you destructive, or are you constructive within the time you have? And this is what fatherhood is about. It's about managing your time well and wisely, and doing things that really matter to your family. And that includes your spouse and your children. So it's not about work-life balance. It's actually a juggling act that you have to juggle. Let's go a bit more deep. So the thing is this. We have family commitments, we have work commitments. How do we balance the both? Because sometimes our work commitments can also go into our family time. What happens then when you bring your work home? How are you going to have enough time to get the work done and also see to the kids and see to your missus? What are you going to do? How are you going to manage it? And this is where priorities fall into place. This is where a plan falls into place. Strategies have to take place. What are you really prioritizing? Are you prioritizing your work in your family time? Or are you prioritizing your family when you get back from work? This is what I'm talking about, guys. It's like a reality check. So the most important thing is quality. What you do within the time you have. So the thing is, there's another expectation. It's the pressure to be perfect, which comes from social expectations. The ability to be a provider, to be a protector, to be an emotional support, to be deeply involved in our children's lives. That in itself is a pressure, because that demands attention. That demands you to be focused. That demands you to allocate certain amount of time. And it's very, very hard to do this and be on point all the time, because sometimes we have other stresses, other commitments, business commitments, we have work commitments. And then on top of that, we have family commitments. It's very hard to juggle. But this is the types of things that we have to manage. And just because we, fathers are grilled for not spending enough time with the family, but that's not the case, because you have to understand the things that we are juggling as fathers is very challenging. You got demands at work, you got demands from the family, and then societal expectations of what a father is meant to be, and how he should act, and how much time should he give. But at the end of the day, you have to understand your unique situation and circumstance, manage your time well, and the perfect balance of time, work, commitments is so subjective, and this depends on your unique situation. It's not one size fits all. You have to bear in mind these things, and you have to adjust accordingly. If you prioritize something, for example your family over your work, then that will obviously come first. But know this, when you put time into something in a particular area of your life, something else is going to suffer because it's going to be neglected until you give it attention, and it's going back and forward. I'll give you an example. Our lives comprise of so many different areas. The spiritual aspect, our connection and our relationship with our Creator, our relationship with people on a social context, and then our relationship with our nearest, dearest loved ones, our families, our children, and then our health. That's also time needed. And then also our business. Now, say for example, there's 5 areas, yeah? Health, wealth, business, family, relationship, and others I've mentioned. But we're going to talk about 5, yeah? If you pay attention to your relationships and your health, then something here is going to suffer. These 3 areas are going to suffer. Do you understand? And until you pay attention to these 3 areas, then all of a sudden this is going to suffer. Then you pay attention to something else like this, then these 4 are going to suffer. And it's ongoing. It's always like that, back and forward, back and forward. And you have to try to balance and juggle these things. And that's the sacrifice. When you put time and attention to something, another area is going to suffer. Then you have to go back to that area that's suffering, give it a bit of attention, bring it up, and then work on something else. It's a constant juggle. You can never have it balanced all throughout your life, covering so many different areas. You know, you can be good generally at a lot of areas of your life, but at least be exceptionally good at one particular area, and that's your baseline. And that is, for example, your family. Because if you don't pay attention to your family, guess what's going to happen? Your health is going to suffer, your wealth is going to suffer, and so many areas of your life is going to suffer. You keep that in check and watch how all of these other things fall into place if you do it well, with quality, attention. And this is what I'm saying. It's not about the length of time, it's about what you do within the time you have. Let me give you an example to just illustrate and emphasize on this point. I train inside the gym roughly between about half an hour on some workouts. It could be 45 minutes, it could be an hour, depending on what I am focusing on. But I don't have to spend hours on end. I could decide, actually, I want to focus on something specific and I want to only spend half an hour. I want to be more efficient, in and out. Focus on the core exercise, the main exercises that can produce a maximum benefit. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to be more time efficient. I'm trying to be more work efficient to get better results. And that's what it's about. Becoming more efficient with your time. Wherever you go, whoever you meet, how much time do you invest? Have you ever said to yourself in a particular area, that was a waste of time. What was the point of coming here? What was the point of doing this? Because you could have done something better and more constructive. It's the same concept that applies to our families and trying to juggle this work-life balance. There is no such thing as a balance. It's just about what you give priority to, how you manage your time. So, what really matters? This is my question. What really matters? Length of time or quality of time? I would pick any day. It's about the quality of time. Because in the quality of time, you're more focused. You're more engaged. There's more likelihood that you have more of an impact. And you physically there, you're able to give attention and more focus because of the limited amount of time you have. So you want to make it as good as possible. This is what I'm saying. And look, the other thing is, let's flip it. When you're at work and you're working for someone, you're not always productive for those 8 to 10 hours whilst you're sitting at the office or whatever kind of work that you're doing. There's a portion of the day when you are very, very productive. And then there's other portions of the day when you're not so productive. And what you're trying to do is you're just trying to spread out your work throughout those 8 to 10 hours, whilst really your work may only take 1 hour to 2 hours, depending on what your work is, but generally speaking. So let's say you've got 10 hours at work and your task can be done in 2 hours. What are you doing with those 8 hours? You're dossing around, you're taking it easy, you know, your mind is all over the place, it's bored, you're having casual conversations, relationships. It's meaningless. This is what I'm saying. It's not about the length of time, it's about what you do within the time you have. Those are the core principles that I'm talking about. The thing is this, with your time, it's all about focusing on important things to get a deeper connection. This is how you strengthen your fatherhood in regards to your relationship with your children and also your spouse. Make it more meaningful, make it more focused. So what does that look like? That looks like this. Put away distractions, put away your phones. When you're having a conversation, don't get distracted by other things. Try and give them that attention that they need. That means look at them in the eye. Give them full frontal body language. Like, look at them, be next to them and face them. This is what I'm saying. And when you're able to do this, when you're able to engage in a conversation, listen attentively and speak when necessary, you're able to have meaningful and deeper relationships because you have prioritized. Whatever is in your intention, if you're wondering why I don't have the time of day, I'm just too tired, it's not that, because these are just all excuses. Ultimately, what it is this: what have you prioritized? Because if you prioritize your family and your children, the likelihood is that you will get that right. But because you haven't prioritized it, you're giving yourself all these excuses to say, oh, I'm busy, I'm just tired, there's not enough time in a day. No, it's not about enough time in a day, because we all have 24 hours. Everyone has the same amount of time, but it's about what you do within the time you have. Period. Quality over quantity any day. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. So, I'll give you an example. How do you create quality time? First of all, it's about being consistent, and it's having an intention. I want a better quality of life with my children, or with my child, with my spouse. What do I need to do? How do I create a life around them? How come we're able to create a life around other things that are not so important, that we think they're important, but we neglect our families, our children, our spouses? And this is what I'm trying to bring to your attention. You could do small things to increase connection by the time with the time you have, and that could be like a small little bedtime routine where you just storytelling your children, you're having just light conversations before they go to bed, that you're kissing them, you're hugging them, you're telling them and showing them how much that you love them and how much that they mean to you. It's these little acts of consistency. You can do the same with your spouse as well. Waking up early in the morning and just having breakfast together, having a cup of tea together. The simplest of things, but keep them consistent. I give you an example. What I do in my relationship with my wife is we try to do as many things together as possible. We go gym together, we work out together, we pray together, we eat together, we have breakfast together. It's these little things, consistent things that build and bond relationships. That's the magic, that's the key right there.